Hi, my name is John Jarvis, JJ. I'm a certified HashiCorp implementation professional, which is CHIP for short. I work with Somerford Associates. I'm chipped in Terraform and Vault, and I'm also a Splunk architect, but we're here to talk about the HashiStack today. I'm going to give you a bit of an overview, and then we're going to, it'll be a quick one, and then we're going to talk about some of the highlights that have come up since the last time I gave one of these, which roughly 6 weeks ago. Try and keep a regular pace to these. So yeah, whistle stop tour through the enterprise editions, but a lot of the stuff we'll be talking about with these products is available open source as well, but we'll get into that. Then the highlights themselves. So Terraform 0.15 is generally available for a couple of weeks now. We'll talk about that. Then we'll move on to Consul. It's had a release in 1.1 that's beta at the moment. So we'll go over what's in that. And then we'll talk about a bit of a niche one maybe, but I've got a networking background, so I find it quite interesting. Hoping you will too. It's called Consul-Terraform-Sync, and that's been in beta for a while, but now that's generally available as well. As of a month ago, I think. Certainly some time ago anyway. So if we can hold the questions until the end, then I'll endeavor to answer them. They don't necessarily have to be about the topics raised today. I want this to kind of be of an open forum. So, but if you can save the questions till then, that would be appreciated. After that, I'll share some resources where you can read up a little bit more on this stuff, and then we'll wrap. So, for those who aren't familiar with it, what is HashiCorp and what is the HashiStack? Well, HashiCorp are a leader in the cloud adoption space, I guess you'd say, and their HashiStack is a leading platform in that particular space. So organizations can use it to establish, secure, run, and connect to cloud computing infrastructure. And it's about doing that at scale. I'm going to bang on about that a lot over the next hour or so. The open source solutions, incredibly popular. As you see, they're downloaded, pardon me, tens of millions of times. And the community is fantastic. I mean, it's one of my favorite things about working with this software. But if you want enterprise grade supported solutions, then that's really the space that you want to be in, and it'll enhance your operations, collaborations, governance as well, key one. And when we're talking about that scale, multi-data center, multi-region, that's also key. So you see them along the bottom there. Let's get into it, shall we? What is the HashiStack? Well, the most popular one certainly is Terraform, which you may have even heard of, even if you've heard of nothing else that I've been talking about so far today. And the one word acronym that you want to think of with Terraform is IAC, infrastructure as code. And the key word in that slide as well is reproducible. So you're codifying your infrastructure in such a way that when I run that code, or when Joe Bloggs runs that code, we're getting the exact same results out there in the, I was going to say the real world. It probably wouldn't be the real world for many of you, but yeah, as real as cloud compute is, I mean, you can do things with it, but yeah, it's a bit too much to wrap your head around if this is your first exposure to it. So, and yeah, while we're on like the topic of blowing your mind, it's the number of service providers, the number of things that Terraform can build is truly boggling, and you can make your own providers as well. If you have custom in-house solutions that need to be built, you are more than able to build your own. And Terraform is designed such that, you know, the binary itself is quite lean, and then when it looks at the code, it's like, oh, I need to have this provider, I'm going to be building this kind of networking equipment, and we'll talk a bit about network automation in a second. You know, I need to build that. I need to I'm going to be working with AWS. I'm going to bring down that provider, and I might have to build some custom in-house solution. I'm going to grab that provider, and then I'm going to build it all. So that's kind of, I mean, yeah, you can light your Christmas tree with Terraform. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, broad range of resources. Talked about AWS there. So yeah, infrastructure as a service, DigitalOcean as well. Platform as a service, something like Heroku for building and deploying applications. Software as a service, GitHub, for example. So yeah, just it's quite a wide range of things. If you think of it, if you think about it just as, oh, I can build AWS, Azure, and GCP, and maybe even Alibaba, but you yeah, you need to think again about all of the possibilities, basically. Okay, onto Vault. So Vault is about secrets management in a nutshell. It's centrally managing, so fighting that secret sprawl that tends to happen otherwise. And when we're talking about secrets, it can be anything really that you don't want competitors or those outside your organization to have access to. So tokens, passwords. Passwords is the one that people think of, but encryption keys, certificates, Vault has solutions for all of those. And much like Terraform I was talking about there, it is composable as well, right? So it works with, in this case, you know, your identity provider of choice, really. So you see the trusted source there. That's the whether, you know, be Okta or AD or whatever. You know, the source of truth in your organization for you are who you say you are. Vault will work with that to then provide follow-on authorizations or not to your secrets. And again, getting back to that enterprise kind of discussion, it supports that scale, multi-data center, disaster recovery. We'll talk a bit further down the line about Consul-Terraform-Sync, and Vault can work with that at a scale that is quite substantial. So on to Nomad. I hope this is pitched at the right level. As I say, we can talk about it in the Q&A if people are still unclear about where these fit in, because it is a lot of information to take in. So this is the orchestrator in the stack. Key things to think of here. It's designed to be a simple and flexible workload orchestrator. That's really where it sits, because you obviously have some ideas in your head if you're in the space of what your go-to for an orchestrator is. I'll get to that in a minute. Again, production grade, right? So Nomad can scale for your needs. And of course, the stack is designed to be pluggable. You can remove components, add components depending on your needs, but it natively integrates with Terraform for infrastructure monitoring, Vault for secrets management, and Consul for service discovery. So it can be an all-in-one solution and work very well together. So yeah, the elephant in the room, just a point about Kubernetes. And I'll link to some information at the end. But if you want to think about Nomad's two kind of core advantages in that particular discussion, again, simplicity, right? So in using it, but also in maintaining it, and the flexibility. So when you're talking about deploying and managing containerized or non-containerized applications. And kind of a third point that I could put in there is many of the big organizations, and we can talk about those are publicly disclosed, they use Kubernetes and Nomad side by side to supplement workloads, because no one scheduler today, fits all applications and environments. So you'll see them, working in the same organizations to their strengths. One final thing on the workloads, depending on where you are in your cloud adoption journey, you may have a lot of legacy applications, and it makes a lot of sense to leave them running on-prem. That there's very good reasons why applications need to stay there, and wholesale migrating to the cloud may not be the right option for everyone. And I think it's important to point out that Nomad can really help in this scenario as well. Getting back to the containerized, non-containerized, but it can orchestrate across on-prem and cloud as well. So it kind of gives you some breathing space on that adoption journey, is a point I just wanted to highlight. Okay, and last but not least, Consul. Let me get my notes up here. So now we're talking about automation, always with the HashiStack, but service-based networking in particular. So Consul's a platform, multi-cloud service network platform, and it allows you to connect and secure services across any runtime environment and any public or private cloud. So whereas so you've got going back to Kubernetes again. So because that's a good point, actually. I was talking about the composability of the stack and whatnot. If you're looking at Kubernetes, a similar coverage in the HashiStack, there's bits of Vault in there with the secrets management, service discovery, the service registry portion, that's Consul, and then the orchestration piece would be Nomad. So yeah, we're talking about automating this networking, and Consul's also providing a registry to share out what services are there, so you can discover new services, connect to them, secure them. It's basically extracting up a level, if I can. So whereas you might well, doesn't seem that long ago, but I guess it was. You might be thinking about securing endpoints. Like, we believe this IP address is good because it's assigned to this data center, and so we'll allow it through the firewall to the database server on the DMZ, for example. Like, that's a scenario that doesn't seem that long ago. But now what we're talking about here with the service-based approach is, the web service, a web service stands up, a web service is torn down. In any particular instance, a web service is allowed to talk to this particular database, and it can do so using these credentials. You need to talk to Vault. It will generate them dynamically. They'll expire in 30 minutes. If you need more time, it can renew them for up to 2 hours, but then it's a flat. You'll have to re-authenticate. That kind, like, it's that kind of, and all of that can be done without human intervention. That's kind of the space that we're in. But yeah, that's longer than I usually spend on Consul, because I want to kind of give a flavor for what's changed in the new beta. But before we get to that, let's talk about Terraform. So not .15. I'm honestly pretty excited about this. In fact, I just this week, a couple of days ago, I added in this bullet point here. This is the last minor release, we believe. I don't have any insider information on this. There's going to be no, there may be more minor releases, but I don't think there's going to be any more major releases before 1.0, before it comes out of beta. Anyway, yeah, in particular, last week maybe. .4 dropped, and it's some pretty major functionality for a minor release. Um, Terraform by default, it's always performed what's called a refresh at the start of its planning to see whether anything's changed in the state of remote objects. Take that into account. Um, but now what Terraform's going to do is it's going to report on what it's doing in that phase. It's going to report on those detected changes, because HashiCorp basically have received a lot of feedback saying it's really confusing when we have plans that include changes, but those changes don't seem to be prompted by changes in the code. We don't really know what's going on. So they're hoping that this will be a little clearer now. Terraform's going to do some more thinking out loud, I guess you could say. Um, what it also means is if you like intentionally make changes in your or to your remote objects and then reflect those changes in the code, not the best way to do things, obviously, but hey, it happens in the real world. Terraform's actually going to explicitly say, I saw that. I realized I didn't need to do anything about it, but I just want you to know I saw it. So I'm kind of excited to play around with that feature and see what's going on. Get into Terraform's head. Anyway, stretching an analogy here. But yeah, so okay, on to not .15, the major release itself. What came out at that point? Because it has been a couple of weeks now. First, the parser requirements around remote state data sources, they've been relaxed, and this has been backported as well into the branches not .14, 13, and 12. So looking ahead to that glorious release from out of beta 1.0, you're not going to need to worry about upgrading your existing code base like immediately all at once to take advantage of new features, which is, I think, pretty cool. And similarly, its state is now cross-compatible all the way back to not .14. So yeah, that's basically making sure that you can take advantage of all the latest features without going through an incredibly painful upgrade of all your existing code in record time, probably. Okay, onto the UX side. A lot of work has gone on behind the scenes to unify, to smooth out, to make a consistent console experience when you're running CLI. So that, and it's a lot of it's around UTF-8 support, but also particularly on the Windows side, virtual terminal sequences are now standard. So Terraform should look the same no matter where you're running it. So that's a lot of this stuff is about smoothing out the Terraform experience ahead of what to provide the level of experience that you'd expect from a product that's no longer in beta is the idea. I think I'm safe in saying so. So we're also extending value sensitivity to provider attributes with this release now. That had been an experimental feature, so you may have already played with that, but that's now GA. And this and the sensitive and non-sensitive, not insensitive, the non-sensitive functions will help you tailor Terraform's behavior around redacting values from your plans, sensitive values from your plans, and things like that. And one last one here. So there's been some improvements in to the logging levels. So you can actually specify a different logging level between the core Terraform that you're writing and then the stuff that references your providers specifically to kind of just help with troubleshooting, really. And the other thing to say on that is previously it had been a bit inconsistent, but provider devs can now be really assured of what level they're targeting, what logging level they're targeting with their messages. So kind of hand in hand there, we're hoping going forward that experience of troubleshooting providers is going to be a lot nicer. Now I teased this. I don't even think I said it this time, but I teased it in the video earlier about breaking changes, and you know it's true there are, but it's not. They've been well announced with deprecation and whatnot. First up is built-in vendor provisioners, so like Chef, Puppet. Those are gone now. They had been deprecated all the way back in not .13, I think, but they're gone now. And they always were as kind of a choice of last resort in HashiCorp's advice. So yeah, there's lots of tutorials if you're looking for alternatives to them if you're still using those in your code. And we could talk about it as well in the Q&A if you've got questions. List and map functions also deprecated, have now been removed. Use toList and toMap. Older versions of Windows, that improved UX experience I was talking about comes at a bit of a cost. Only the latest versions of Windows 10 now are going to be supported officially by HashiCorp. There may be some inconsistencies in the earlier versions, and they're officially drawing the line on that. Another minor one, just to finish off, is before you could actually specify a working directory at the end of your Terraform commands, just kind of on the end there. Now you have to actually use the chdir option to be really explicit that that's what that parameter is for. There's a bunch of other things, and I've got links that I can share if people are interested, or yeah. You know as well as I do that all this stuff lives on GitHub, and you can go there as well. Okay, so that what's changed in Terraform in a nutshell. So Consul. We've got a new release in Consul that's in beta right now. What are the highlights? Well, first, we're, and oh yeah, before I get started, I made a note to myself. There's actually been a second beta release. So if you downloaded the first one and you're working off that, just be aware that there's another version that's come down just to get the latest copy of these features. So transparent proxy. What I mean by that is while the old behavior of prescriptive means of directing the flow of traffic between services is still available if you want that level of control, there's now this option of having the proxy be transparent in that the service mesh governs itself. So you're allowing basically whatever sidecar proxy you're using. Let's use Envoy as the example. You're allowing it to infer the destination based on the application. So say, the proxy could intercept and redirect traffic from applications running in VMs or Kubernetes without additional modifications to the config. So that's pretty neat. And sticking with that proxy Envoy in particular topic, Consul will now default to XDS version 3 and configuring new Envoy proxies, kind of basically keeping in step with their compatibilities between version 3 and version 2. Next, we have a significant performance improvement, HashiCorp hopes, with the introduction of streaming. So previously, update notifications were quite CPU and possibly network intensive, particularly in larger deployments, larger console deployments. So yeah, we're hoping that now that's going to be a significant improvement, and HashiCorp are actually specifically asking for clients to get back to them on this and see if that's the case. If you really are experiencing a better experience on that front. Experience. Anyway. So now we've got UI improvements as well. So they're making it easier to take advantage of the console service visualization UI that have been introduced back in not .9, I believe. And Kubernetes. So you can now deploy Prometheus and Grafana through Consul Helm chart, and again integrating integrating with that service visualization UI. And Consul Agent and Consul Gateway metrics can be incorporated in a similar fashion. So there's been some enhancements on that front. Sticking with Kubernetes for a sec. Pod and Envoy metrics can now be exposed by a single endpoint. So in the past, you had to choose one or the other, and that is no longer the case, happily. Finally, bit of a sidestep here. I just wanted to, in my last update, I talked about HPC Vault, the Vault as a service for those who just want to get up and running quite quickly and not have to worry about keeping the car going, kind of thing. HPC Consul was also released at the exact same time to the exact same AWS regions. So again, there's three regions in the EU. So if you are thinking, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe I want to try this out, but I'm not sure I want to invest the time in getting the clusters up and running on my own. You can, like that, have a development cluster ready and to just play around with and see what it gives you. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I highlighted that. So that was really quick, I realized, but again, if you have questions, just let me know. Final update topic, Consul-Terraform-Sync. So this has been in beta for a while, but it is now GA. Has been for about a month now, I think. So yeah, this kind of marks the continued maturity of HashiCorp's largest solution that they're calling network infrastructure automation. Yeah, NIA, which you can think of as like day two networking tasks. So you know, if you're talking about getting things up and running pretty quickly on, but not right away, you're going to be wanting to connect all of this stuff together. So it's about reducing the burden on the operators who are going to be doing that job. These operators, they define a set of tasks in CTS, is the way it works. And they execute whenever a new service is registered or deregistered in Consul. So I talked about, the standing up and tearing down there. These could include, so yeah, jumping back to, so we've been abstracting up to Consul now, but just to step back down a little bit to kind of give you more, because a lot of this stuff is really ephemeral in more ways than one. Some examples. So tasks like firewall policies, updating load balancer, member pools, that kind of thing, just to make it a little more concrete in your head. So yeah, that before, that was associated with registering and deregistering a service. Now it's kind of been decoupled from that. And service-related events have their own life cycle, basically. You can start them and stop them independently of other things and pull for status. So it gives operators a lot more flexibility in how they want to do this, how they want to maintain it as well. So yeah, that's the big highlight. One thing I've been banging on a bit, I don't think I've been too bad this time actually, about is the enterprise editions and HashiCorp, the HashiStack at scale, right? And the open source editions are brilliant, but once you're talking about enterprise scale, you need enterprise grade, really. And of course, with that comes these very expansive network architectures that you get at that scale. And I just wanted to emphasize that CTS, HashiCorp has really targeted that scale when they've designed CTS. So, and I said earlier, I believe, and it supports passing sensitive information as part of that process as well. So certificates or tokens as part of something like Vault. And it really is, this is another area where HashiCorp is really keen to have people kick the tires, basically. They've been testing it a lot. This launch would not have been possible without the partners who have been integral in that testing, of course. And yeah, they really do believe that this is a solution that can work at the largest of scales. So yeah, those partners, I mean, they've been working really hard getting, well, effectively a CTS module library of common tasks that you want to automate with their networking kit. And it's just continuing to grow, of course, this library. But yeah, quite an impressive set of companies there, I think you'll agree. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that one in case you hadn't heard of it, because I think for many people when they're talking about Consul, it's a bit hard to wrap your head around exactly how you're going to work with it. And this is a big part of how you would work with Consul in any kind of automated fashion. Okay, so that's pretty much all I had to say today. I think I mentioned it before, but if I haven't, HashiCorp Learn tutorials in particular are really quite in depth on a variety of subjects. I mean, I've just picked two there. So troubleshooting Terraform we talked a bit about how there's been improvements in 0.15 with that. And this kind of goes back to more fundamentals of what to do when things go wrong. And then there's some stuff around NIA as well, because I think that's one that can be a bit difficult to envision. And you can run through all that stuff. And they even have interactive portions of the tutorials on their website. I included a blog post on there as well. There's a few actually. There's a few posts that kind of take a very pragmatic look at when and where you'd want to use Kubernetes, Nomad, both. But that's a good intro, I'd say, to the topic. But other than that, anyone have any questions about the topics presented? Okay. Well, in that case, it's just for me to say thank you very much for your time and attention. I've just put in a quick pitch. Somerford, we want to be seen as advisors as well as people that are going to implement this for you. So even if you're just at the stage where you have questions about this stuff, please do get in touch. We'll be happy to talk with you and hope we can help. But yeah, for today, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.